Welcome back, Wisdom Seekers. Before we dive in, I want you to take a moment and really think about something. Have you ever felt stuck in life, like you're running in place while everyone else seems to be moving forward? Well, what I'm about to share with you today completely transformed my life, and I believe it could do the same for you. This isn't just another generic self-help video. This is real, raw experience backed by ancient wisdom that has stood the test of time for over 2,000 years. Today, we're going to explore the 8 types of people I had to remove from my life to finally break free and move forward. And trust me, this isn't about being mean or selfish. It's about understanding a profound truth that the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught us. The key to happiness is letting go of what we cannot control and focusing on what we can. What I'm going to share with you today isn't just my personal story. It's a journey that intertwines with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that helped me make these difficult but necessary decisions. Every category of people I'll discuss comes with real examples, practical advice, and ancient wisdom that's surprisingly relevant to our modern lives. So, before you think about skipping ahead, remember this. The next 15 minutes could completely change how you view your relationships and, ultimately, your life's trajectory. Every section builds upon the previous one, creating a complete picture that you'll need to truly understand this transformative process. Let's begin. 1. The eternal victims. The first type of people I had to distance myself from were the eternal victims, those who consistently refuse to take responsibility for their lives. You know the type. Everything is always someone else's fault. The world is against them, and they have an excuse for every situation. I had a friend, let's call him Mike, who exemplified this perfectly. Every conversation with him was a litany of complaints. His boss was unfair. His girlfriend didn't understand him. The economy was rigged against him. The problem wasn't that he faced challenges, we all do, but that he refused to acknowledge his role in creating or solving them. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote hit me hard when I first read it, because it made me realize how much energy I was losing by maintaining relationships with people who constantly chose to be victims. Being around eternal victims doesn't just drain your energy, it starts to shape your own mindset. You begin to see the world through their lens of helplessness and despair. I noticed that after spending time with Mike, I'd feel heavy, discouraged, and more likely to blame others for my own challenges. 2. The energy vampires. Next came the energy vampires, those people who seem to have an infinite capacity for drawing out your emotional and mental resources while giving nothing in return. These aren't necessarily bad people, but their presence in your life creates an unsustainable imbalance. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." This wisdom helped me understand why I felt so depleted after spending time with certain people. I had a colleague, Sarah, who would constantly seek my advice and emotional support, but never actually implement any solutions or reciprocate the support. Every conversation was a marathon of her problems, fears, and anxieties. While it's important to be there for others, I realized that some people treat you like an emotional dumping ground rather than a friend. The thing about energy vampires is that they often disguise their behavior as friendship or closeness. I only share these things with you because we're so close, they might say. But true friendship should be energizing, not depleting. It should be a mutual exchange of support, ideas, and positive energy. 3. The chronic complainers. Similar to, but distinct from the eternal victims, are the chronic complainers. These are the people who find fault in everything, even the most positive situations. They're the ones who can find the cloud in every silver lining. I remember a friend who would complain about getting a promotion because it meant more responsibility, or about going on vacation because of the hassle of travel. Epictetus said it perfectly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The dangerous thing about chronic complainers is that negativity is contagious. Research shows that our brains are wired to pay more attention to negative information. It's called the negativity bias. When you're constantly around someone who only sees the negative, you start doing the same. The Stoics taught that true happiness comes from accepting what is while working to change what you can. Chronic complainers do neither. They reject what is while refusing to take action to change their circumstances. 4. The dream killers. Perhaps the most toxic people I had to remove from my life were the dream killers, those who, often under the guise of being realistic or practical, would constantly try to diminish my ambitions and goals. These people are particularly dangerous because they often present themselves as well-meaning friends or advisors. They'll say things like, "I'm just trying to protect you from disappointment," or "I'm being realistic." But as Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." I had several friends who would consistently respond to my goals with skepticism and doubt. When I talked about starting my own business, they'd immediately list all the ways it could fail. When I mentioned wanting to travel and work remotely, they'd tell me how unrealistic that was. The Stoics teach us that fear of failure shouldn't stop us from pursuing worthy goals. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult." The dream killers in your life will try to convince you that your fears are wisdom, that your doubts are reality checks. 5. The judgmental critics. The fifth category of people I had to distance myself from were the judgmental critics, those who seem to have an opinion about everything you do, wear, say, or think. These people appoint themselves as the arbiters of your life choices, often without any invitation or qualification to do so. This was particularly difficult for me because one of these critics was a close family member. Every decision I made was subject to their scrutiny and criticism, from my career choices to my personal style. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus addressed this perfectly when he said, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults,' else he would not have mentioned these alone." The problem with keeping judgmental critics in your life isn't just the emotional toll they take. It's that they can make you second-guess every decision you make. You start living your life for their approval, rather than your own authentic path. What I learned from Stoicism is that true freedom comes from being indifferent to what others think of you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all." The same applies to critics. They often judge others to avoid facing their own insecurities and shortcomings. 6. The past anchors. These are the people who knew you in your past and seem determined to keep you there. They're the ones who constantly remind you of who you used to be, making it harder for you to become who you want to be. I had friends from high school who would constantly bring up old stories, old mistakes, and old versions of me, even as I was trying to grow and evolve. They weren't necessarily doing it maliciously, but their inability to see and accept my growth became an anchor weighing me down. Seneca wrote, "Life is like a play. It's not the length, but the excellence of the acting that matters." This reminded me that we shouldn't let our past define our future. The past anchors in our lives often resist our changes because our growth makes them uncomfortable with their own stagnation. It's important to understand that removing past anchors doesn't mean denying or being ashamed of your history. Instead, it's about creating space for your evolution. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." 7. The chaos creators. These people seem to thrive on drama and instability. They're constantly involved in some crisis or conflict, and they have a way of pulling others into their chaos. What makes them particularly dangerous is that they often make their chaos seem exciting or meaningful. I had a friend who would constantly create dramatic situations in her life and then demand everyone's attention to help her deal with them. Every week there was a new crisis, a new conflict, or a new dramatic situation that required immediate attention and support. The Stoics emphasized the importance of tranquility and inner peace. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This wisdom helped me understand that choosing a drama-free life might seem boring to chaos creators, but it's essential for personal growth and happiness. 8. The emotional manipulators. The final and perhaps most subtle category of people I had to remove were the emotional manipulators. These are the people who use guilt, shame, or emotional blackmail to control others' behavior and decisions. They're experts at making you feel responsible for their feelings and well-being. They might say things like, if you really cared about me, you would, or after everything I've done for you. They're masters at playing the victim while actually being the aggressor. Marcus Aurelius offered profound wisdom about dealing with such people. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. This helped me understand that I didn't need to play their game or respond to manipulation with manipulation. The process of letting go. Now, I want to be clear about something. Removing these people from your life doesn't mean you have to be cruel or dramatic about it. Sometimes it's about creating healthy boundaries, sometimes it's about gradually reducing contact, and sometimes it's about having honest conversations about your needs and expectations. The Stoics taught us that every challenge is an opportunity for growth. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Removing these people from my life wasn't about blame or judgment. It was about taking responsibility for my own growth and happiness. The results. The changes I experienced after removing these 8 types of people from my life were profound. I found myself with more energy, clearer thinking, and a stronger sense of purpose. I had more time and emotional capacity to nurture relationships with people who truly supported my growth and shared my values. Most importantly, I learned to be more discerning about who I allow into my inner circle. As Seneca wisely noted, associate with people who make you better. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. Final thoughts. Remember, this journey isn't about becoming cold or isolating yourself. It's about being intentional with your relationships and understanding that not everyone deserves a front-row seat in your life. As Marcus Aurelius said, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. The process of removing these people from your life might be challenging, and you might feel guilty at times. But remember what Epictetus taught us. First, say to yourself what you would be. Then do what you have to do. Your life is too precious to spend it surrounded by people who drain you, diminish you, or hold you back. Choose your relationships wisely, set healthy boundaries, and remember that sometimes the best way to move forward is to leave certain people behind. Thank you for staying with me through this entire video. If you found value in these insights, please like and subscribe for more content about personal growth, ancient wisdom, and creating a life of purpose. Share this video with someone who might need to hear this message and let me know in the comments about your own experiences with these types of people. Remember, the journey of personal growth isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Until next time, take care and stay strong on your path to becoming the best version of yourself.